Welcome to the Artist of Science. I have the pleasure and honor to be here with Bernardo Gontijo. He is CEO of AVG Big Iron Production. It's a family company. He has been managing it for about 27 years now. And first of all, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Just as an initial question, I wanted to know a little bit about your business.
Okay.
How you manage it, for how long, how it serves to the society, etc.
Yes, our business is the production of pig iron. Our units are located in Sete Lagoas, that are near Belo Horizonte. And basically what we are trying to do is a work together with the people that work with me that tries to benefit the society that we believe in very much. If you go there, you see we were together with the group of employees in this end of year parties, and they were telling, not to me, but to the other people, how they like to work at AVG, how they feel well, it's a company that gives them opportunities. Some of them are there for a very long time, and they started low, and now they are hiking and in a better position. In terms of society, we also, the regions that we are producing charcoal, for instance, are in the north of Minas Gerais. They are very poor regions that has nothing there. And the feeling is the same. The people that work there, we try to offer them very good conditions, and we are proud of that. I think we are trying to, first of all, be 100% according to the law and commit as less mistakes as possible. Because as you know, in Brazil the legislation is too complicated. To be an industrialist is a challenge.
Yes, I've heard about that. Very complicated laws.
But we are improving very much. AVG today has a very good name, and we try to take care of our employees, we try to take care of the environment, we try to think business in a different way, and then profit comes as a result. Yes.
And your product is pig iron, which serves the steel industry.
That's right.
And I guess steel today is still a dominant material, applicable everywhere.
Yes.
Despite other new materials are coming, so it serves to a necessity to the society.
To the society.
Your product.
And we produce the special grades pig iron with very low phosphorus, low manganese, low sulfur. We are one of the unique in the world that are capable of doing some specific analysis, and we export a lot of our material to Europe and to the United States as well.
And you sell also domestically?
We sell part of it domestically, and we service also the steel mills in Brazil. That is a different pig iron, that's a basic pig iron, that's a more normal standard that sometimes we go against the scrap. It's a very competitive business, but we have the special grade. We try to offer all grades, the foundry, the basic, and the modular, and the real special steel pig iron, with low phosphorus and low manganese.
So special pig iron serves to special steels.
The special automotive, like these fancy cars. Sometimes even the windmill industry, in Europe especially. So Europe they like the low special grade PR.
Low phosphorus,
Low phosphorus, low sulfur, right?
low manganese. Oh, interesting. What brought you this business? What it's an old business, but a highly, engineering one, meaning that it needs technology, it needs the latest development in order to be competitive. What brought you to this business?
Well, actually, a long time. My father. It started with my father. He used to be one of the shareholders of Italinas Group before. And after I finished high school, I had a dinner. He had a dinner with some groups from Germany, and he invited me to join. And
How old you were at the time?
I was 18 years old.
18?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I was waiting to start my law course.
Mhm.
And I attended the dinner, and I started to talk with the Germans and the Chinese about life, and suddenly, by chance, one of them invited me to go to their headquarters in Asia for a certain period of time in Hong Kong.
This was a steel company?
It was a trading company,
Trading
a
company.
German trading
Okay.
company with headquarters in Asia, in Hong Kong. It was in 1988. And I was, that should be really fine. I accept your invitation, just joking, and let's see how it goes. And then we finished it, and I went home, and nothing else happened. And suddenly my father arrived at home, said, they invited you to really go. Do you want to go?
Mhm.
I said, yes, I do. But when is that? We were in March, it's going to be in April. So you go with me, we go for a tour in Japan, Taiwan, and then you stay there. You learn a bit about shipping, about business, about other financing. And then I said, okay, I go. Let's do that. And it was in 1988. By that time, Hong Kong was still a British colony, and it was my first trip abroad. So I was really very fascinated, and I rented a room at a hotel there, and I was going every day to the office, and they were giving me some tasks, some
So you are practically working?
working, yes. I took the bus every day, and I was really, it was completely different from Brazil, from what we had here. So to me, it was really a learning. I met a lot of people, a lot of interesting people there. I had a lot of learning about the pig iron market. We had a chance to travel to Japan, to Taiwan, to Korea.
So all this was related to pig iron?
All this related to pig iron, yes. And then I remember after a certain time there, I called my father and said, Dad, I want to work full time.
Oh.
I'm going to return after this period, and I will please find a room for me there that I will help you. I think it's really a fascinating job, and there is nothing better for me to do for the time being to start this.
So since the time you worked full time for your father?
Yes, my father had a partner, and then I really got involved in the business. I started to do the work that nobody wanted to do, such as pick up at the airport.
So you're doing that?
Bringing them to the hotel, taking, nobody wants to take to dinner, I do, I go. So I was doing the social part of the commercial, and traveling a lot. I was going to Victoria, to the port, to take care of talking to the plant managers to see the quality, everything. I was
So you're doing basically everything.
everything in the commercial department. And then after 2 years of doing that here and there, and became a bit, let's say, known by the community. The partner of my father, Bernardo, invited me to be the commercial director of Itaminas. I think you remember that. And then I was 20 years old, and Itaminas was facing a difficult financing situation by that time, but I accepted. I said, okay, let's see how it goes. And then to me it was a learning process because it was a real job. I had to sell and put the money in the company.
And how old you were at the time?
I was 20
20.
years old. So it brought a situation where I was working 24 hours. And
24 hours a
here
day.
and there, sometimes they
You
called,
didn't sleep?
yeah, sometimes they called me from Hong Kong. It was their morning.
Okay.
They were bothering me at home.
Yeah, because it's 12 hours,
We
13
didn't
hours
have a
difference.
cell phone, so they called my home.
Oh.
And then my mother was becoming angry. Oh, these guys, they call every day. I have to talk to them. I have to solve, because every day was a different problem. Shipping, financing, and this and that. So I had to get involved. And it was how it brought me to the pig iron business. Itaminas had the pig iron and iron ore and other business as well. But the pig iron was my responsibility. So I was, we by that time were producing almost 1 million tons of pig iron a year.
In what year?
In 1989, 1990, 1988.
And here in around Belo Horizonte.
In Minas Gerais and in the north of Brazil,
Oh,
as well, in Marabá. No? So after a certain time, they decided to split up the partnership, and my father got some assets from Itaminas, and he was running with a smaller production. And then instead of being involved in the commercial, I started to be the CEO of the business. So get involved in other things that I was not involved before, because before only the commercial department and contact social events. By that time I was more an insider.
At the age of?
At the age of 27, 28. And before that, I was invited by another company to be their commercial director for 2 years. So I stayed for 2 years.
It's another company.
Another company, Ferroeste, that belongs to one of our friends, family's friend, and a big company. By that time, he bought shares of Gerdau, and he started to get involved in steel and increased his pig iron production. And then he invited me to help, and I accepted, and I stayed there until my father completed the split up, and then he said, no, now you want to come because I need help, and then I had to leave and started to be the CEO of AVG.
This was how many years ago?
I started to be the CEO in 1995, beginning of 1995.
So it was 27 years.
That's right, that's right.
What's the challenges of managing and directing and being a leader of a pig iron company? What are the most challenging issues and advantages?
I think that I had always a very hard time because I was responsible to make the transformation of AVG in stopping the consumption of native forest charcoal to planted forests.
Okay.
So this was the main challenge, to be self-sustainable.
Exactly.
So we started, AVG had nothing, no forests at all. So we started to develop our own plantations in the north of Minas Gerais. And we started also to have suppliers of planted forests up to what we have now. So it was a real challenge, and today I can say that our system is very secure, that we buy from, the charcoal we buy from very reliable suppliers, and our production is very well managed. So I'm proud of this transformation we made. And the pig iron business, we believe very much in the business. It's a unique technology that Brazil has from planted forests, but very few companies survived through this, being the same company.
Because
of the difficulties, the necessity of capital to invest in forest, I think management, several reasons.
So
Family.
do we own our forest or the?
They were having, I think most of them, a very short-term mentality, business mentality, and in our case, we believe pig iron is a very long-term mentality and strategic, because the cycle of the plantation is 21 years. When you make the first investment, you have to wait first for 7 years for the first fish, then 7 more, and the industry, being an industrialist in Brazil, is a very needs too much capital to reinvest in technology, because the business has been changing, the market. So it's a challenge that when we started, AVG was producing 20,000 tons. Today we are producing 28,000. So we even increased our production. And we are proud of working on that challenging business, and the team we have there is very professional, very...
So you are happy of all this 27 years?
I'm happy. I mean, I
as a
think
CEO.
It's a very stressful business, but I'm proud of what we accomplished.
Which compensate this stress?
I'm not sure. I think that life, you have some scares.
Yeah, sure.
And they are there, sometimes physical, sometimes in your soul, sometimes in all over your body, you can see. But when you look behind and you look forward, you see there is a potential. When you listen to some, people saying about the company, a part of the problems, I'm proud of everything we have done. And since I like challenges. I like when it's raining a lot, I like to go against the rain and see that the sun will come one day, and maybe not for me, but for the next generation.
So, parting from that, starting from going back in time, you just mentioned it. If we go back in time, let's say 20 years, 30 years, would you have chosen exactly the same profession, exactly the same, directed in pig iron industry, if you would have had different choices?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think a part of the stress and everything, I'm a happy person. I mean, okay. I think I made a lot of friends in my career. I had good times and bad times, of course. I learned a lot, and I think that's that's what life is. I mean, you can't just choose something to protect yourself against the effects of what's going to come. And my choice there, I think, when I chose, I was, of course, expecting something easier. I was expecting something less stress.
Okay.
But I, at a certain point, I simply could not turn back and say, I'm done. There is a responsibility, there is people, there is investments, there is capital, future, so you have to carry on.
Which is the most difficult part in the decision-making process? Which part? Financial, from your experience of 27 years. What's the one that you really found it difficult compared to others? And how you solved it?
I think actually the point is that you gotta behave right, and this is sometimes difficult because of the system. The system, and
meaning that
meaning that you have to be lonely with your decisions. You are sometimes taking decisions that are sometimes going against a group. Sometimes you have to do yourself. That's our direction. See what happens. Nobody will say, "Oh, I support you." It's your neck. In the end, you have to be responsible for that. And I had many times that I took wrong decisions. Of course, it's part of life. And I suffered the consequences of that, and they were not nice. But
can we have an example, if you can?
I mean, we were pig iron in terms of society is something that is not well seen by the society. Usually you have bad competitors that do something wrong, and I had to say, okay, for my company to survive, we have to do something unpopular against 90% of the sector, and maybe these decisions will suffer the consequences of that. So even in the commercial, when I was at Itaminas, the market is very competitive. Sometimes when you make a sale, I'm not going to care about my competitor. I'm just do it, and I had to do it.
Sure.
The price is too low. You are this, you are that. Sometimes even they try to beat you personally because of your. That's how people think in Brazil. Sometimes they try to take it personally. I mean, if you took a decision, it's you, not your company. It's you. You did this and that. So I had to suffer these effects at a very young age. I was 20, 18, 19, and people were. Sometimes I had a meeting with Swiss guys in I don't know, Geneva or Zurich, and they were angry about the delay in performance that Itaminas had because of, and I had to support everything, and we try to and sometimes it's hard, especially when you're young, at any age, I think. But I think that I don't have, per se, regrets. I think that what happened. You have to always look forward. And as I said, the stress and these things, sometimes they leave you some scars that you have to, but it's part of life. Yeah.
Has it ever ended? Has it ever professional?
It has been always very difficult, but I had a lot of nice moments as well.
And what are the easiest decision to be taken by the CEO? Easiest, if they exist?
I think that there are no easy
There are no easy.
decisions. I think everything because, for instance, our company, we have more than 1,000 employees. So it's a lot of people, and you deal with a lot of families, interests. You have the society, you have the government, you have the... So it's never possible to make everybody pleased, including the shareholders. They want their share, and you have to do your best. And sometimes your best is not their best or what the others want. So they will always, some side of this story will attack, will complain, you have always to close your eyes and keep going. You know, that's the best decision that has to be taken at this moment. You have to see the economics, to see the society, to see the government, to see the strategic, the capital that you have available for investment. As you know, in Brazil, the interest rates are very high. So in a business, in a volatile business like ours, you just cannot go to the bank, take a loan, long term. What is long term? What is, Brazil is a short term country. So we are a medium-sized company, not big, not small. So you are between the chain of the sharks, the big sharks, and the small ones that are protected by the state. We are not protected by anybody. We are just there, you know, swimming and going. And these are the difficulties. But the difficult part sometimes is to make people believe in your project, to make people, including the people that work with you. You always have to think about, and I try to do this exercise, that if I am willing to work at AVG, what I would want, what working conditions would be necessary. So I do this question all the time, to myself, every day, because you have to do it to yourself, because sometimes there are people that want to take advantage, that are representing, and you have always to talk to the directors and to the workers. I try to talk to everybody there and listen to the different opinions and form my own conclusion.
So everything you said, looking at every aspect, managing a business, I have one word to describe it. So you take decision based on sustainability.
Yes.
So just one word encompasses all things you said.
Today is a bit different from the past.
Because employees, government, environment, economy, profit, etc., shareholders, taking into consideration all of this, that means being sustainable.
Sustainable, because since I started, this word didn't exist.
Didn't exist, sure.
And today is the word.
It is the word. You've been doing it for a long time.
A long time. And then you see this word arriving, and today, our interest, the interest of the shareholders, are the last. They gotta be the last. You have to please.
Probably they'll not like this.
Yeah,
if they see this
but
interview.
sometimes, no, yes, but sometimes, for instance, I hear, Petrobras or company A or B, they are going to the bank to take money to pay the shareholders. In our case, we can't do that. It's really expensive to do that.
To take it back because it's high interest.
High interest, so you have to generate funds for that. And I think that if we look back the company today and some years ago, it's a better company. It's a better company. So it has more potential.
You mentioned swimming. You mentioned it in a different way in business. But what is your hobby? Is really swimming your hobby? What are your hobbies? So you work, you go twice per day in the company. In the morning, you return in Belo every day. It's a full day of work, sometimes extra hours. So what about hobbies?
My hobby is, I like music, I like traveling with my family to exotic places, to different places. I like, today my main hobby is reading. I like reading.
What kind of literature?
I like to read about exotic things like philosophy, like astrophysics, like something that puts your mind to think. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I started to read a lot about law again and about business, just to recycle myself.
Is law a necessity or a hobby for you?
No, it's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. And then what I did, I started to read, and I decided to conclude my graduation now. So I'm doing my last subjects at night.
Okay.
Okay, so just to conclude,
But-
because today the law is extremely important to manage our business. Everything in Brazil now, go to the court. So you have to really learn to be more formal, more attached to the principles. That's the theme of what we are living right now.
So, as a CEO, you'll be a lawyer also. You're gonna check your lawyers if they do the work properly, or gonna help them, or gonna challenge them.
I think that the idea is that the decisions you take, they become more reasonable. They
Okay.
become more for your management. I think every businessman, every CEO has to learn a bit about law, where he is, because it's really important. Before, it was not like today. About 30 years ago, I think it was not necessary, but today it's really important. It gives you more, how can I say, arguments to take a decision, knowing
Protection.
the consequences, knowing the possible risks that you have. So I think
So the hobby is law,
no,
plus traveling and
no, my family, of course, I have my family supports me a lot. They give me freedom, they understand my business, this back and forth, so they support my projects.
do they wish sometimes you stay more with the family than to the work?
But I don't have time. My weekends are for them. I stay with them and I enjoy being with them, taking. So I'm now in this. I don't have too much time left, but I enjoy. I feel very good to be with them because I'm raising a very nice family.
You don't have too much time left, meaning because you are busy.
Yes, and I because this back and forth and graduation thing and this, so I'm really practically done
Pretty
with my
full.
time.
You are pretty full.
Yeah.
But you are also heart attack survivor.
Huh? Yes, I am.
So when you had a heart attack at the age of
I
45,
had at the age of 45.
you almost clinically dead.
Yes.
So then you survived.
Yes, I did.
All this, what happened? Did it change anything in you? Did you start to rethink things that you are doing?
Actually, no. I mean, I'm just in the way I see is not so worried as I used to be before. I just keep going and doing what I think is right.
So the result of that,
Of
you
course.
just stop worrying too much.
Yes, I just like what I'm doing. I try to feel well. I try to be with, do the good things for my health, going to the doctors and reviewing. But fortunately, the heart attack I had, I didn't have any severe consequences that I cannot handle. I mean, that can put me, don't do this or don't do that. That, of course, I have to take precautions, like avoiding a bit of this or that, but nothing forbidden. So I feel good. I mean,
you're lucky also.
Yes, I'm lucky. I feel good. I'm still young, and what happened to me was completely unexpected. I was before taking no medications for heart, or so it gave me a lesson that what happens happens, and you cannot avoid. Do your best to be like do what the doctors tell you to do, but stress I can't avoid. And
Is this stress bad? It's good. This is bad or good?
Stress. I think a bit of stress is good. I mean, gives you life, gives you some motivation sometimes to overcome your difficulties. I'm always under a challenge, and I think if it's good or bad, I like it. I mean, and when you have too much, that's a problem. Something very difficult. Yes, and this is a problem. But I think I started to think also that our life is that. I mean, you see every day in the news problems here, there, so how to deal with that, how to avoid, not possible.
In the news, what we see, the happiest person that you see in the news are movie stars and TV stars.
You see.
So, and then the young generation thinks this is the best profession in the world.
No, they are.
So this is something happening every day.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be, it's an easy life, movie star, lot of money.
That's always what I think. When you see, for instance, Disney World, I took my kids to see Disney. Beautiful Disney. Who was the first one to...
It was a businessman, it was an entrepreneur.
Start to have this vision.
It is an entrepreneur. Exactly.
That in the beginning he was nothing.
Exactly.
He had to draw his send here, send there, until someone believed in him and said, no, let's go, let's see what.
Exactly.
So
he has a statue.
When I see something that, when you go to a country, when you see a monument or this is an effort of a group or of a, so I value a lot that. I like history, to study history as well and see.
So if young people 18 like you when you started, or 20 or 20 years, would ask you today, tell me, I want to be an entrepreneur, is this really a good choice? And what are the reasons why I should be an entrepreneur?
I think it's a good choice. I think what we do is very important for the society. In our case, we are in a very competitive business, so maybe the stress is a bit higher. But if you see an interview of an entrepreneur, it's always fascinating. It's always amazing to see what they have to say, to see their accomplishments that was established. And I think that if you look back in our past, in our history, what we are, where we are, it's because movements that happened a long time ago. So that's why we are here.
And what's the key of your success? How you solve problems? Young people might ask.
I believe in what I do. I like challenges. I think it's fascinating when you meet people, when you are in business and you have opportunities to meet people from different nationalities and listen to their stories. now it's a bit more difficult with the internet and people are meeting less than before. But before you had dinners, lunch, marvelous situations where you meet and people sometimes tell you about their life, about their problems. Sometimes you listen, you see that maybe it's yours as well, people from all over the world, and it's really fascinating.
So there is a big incentive to be an entrepreneur.
I think if you believe in what you do, it's a lifestyle, I think. You just sometimes go to an airplane, go to a different country, try to convince, try to do business. It's really, I wouldn't, I think, if I, let's say, go to an ordinary life, because my life is...
You cannot go to...
No, I'm completely...
But this is not extraordinary, this
No.
is fulfilling.
Yeah, fulfilling, full of life, and I'm proud of what I did. And I think that there is, if you talk to your friends, for instance, my high school friends, what have you done, what, and sometimes there is no, if you do the ordinary, for me at least, it's a little bit more stressed, but I can't.
It's fulfilling.
It's fulfilling.
And you like it,
and I
and you
like
enjoy
it.
it.
I enjoy, I think...
That's the key of the success.
That's the key. It's really stressed. So sometimes I think twice when I see my son, you know, you have to have, you have to like it, you have to live for him. See if it's for him, maybe it's not. People prefer a different life, it's personal.
So if you like it, if you love it, the success will come.
Yeah, the success will come.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We really appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
We wish you great success
Thank you
in the
very
future
much.
in all your projects.
Really,
And
pleasure.
probably in the next interview, you'll double your production.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you also.